Now, malaria is, of course, transmitted by mosquitoes. I brought some here just so you could experience this. There's no reason only poor people should have the experience.
Is West Nile virus something that the rest of America should be concerned about?
It is much underappreciated in the United States, and that's the reason why I called for a lot more attention and resources into developing a vaccine and antivirals.
In that clip you just witnessed, Bill Gates released a bunch of mosquitoes as a joke onto his audience during a TED Talk that he held 13 years back. But was it really a joke? It seems like he might have been serious. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. First, we're going to talk a little bit about Google. If you haven't already heard, Google is trying to get the EPA to greenlight its planned release of 32 million mosquitoes in the United States, namely across California and Florida. A neighborhood mosquito dump coming to a dystopian society near you. Just kidding. It's already been happening. This kind of stuff has actually been going on for almost a decade. Starting in 2017 when Alphabet, the parent company of Google, did a project in which they unleashed 20 million mosquitoes in Fresno County, California. And get this, a few years later, a UK biotech company called Oxitec got the US government to approve a plan to release 750 million mosquitoes throughout the Florida Keys. 750 million. Yes, you heard that right. And not only that, they are genetically modified. What? And right now, as you're watching this video, 1 million mosquitoes are being released by the US government a week in Hawaii. That's not a joke. And yes, Bill Gates is implicated in a lot of what I just talked about. More on that in a second. Stick around and you'll hear about all of this craziness. So what exactly is Google doing? As part of its Debug program, it's trying to get the Trump EPA to approve this 2-year period, 32 million mosquito plan. Why? They say it's in order to combat the West Nile virus. Apparently, it's a huge problem. After all, it does off about 150 Americans a year. 150! Wow, that's just so much. I mean, we have more Americans lose their lives to lawnmowers every year. So, I think we need some lawnmower control too, or something. Debug writes that in the project, male mosquitoes are purposely infected with the Wolbachia bacteria. Then they're released to go mate with the female mosquitoes, where apparently that bacteria will stop any reproduction from happening. If it sounds a little weird to you, that's because it is freaking weird. But hey, Debug tells us that male mosquitoes can't bite, so nothing to worry about. If you think Google's not going to get their way, well, you might be mistaken. Remember, the first iteration of this debug program kicked off in 2017. That was in Fresno and also when Trump was president. Okay, well that's cool and all, but what does this have to do with Bill Gates, or Anthony Fauci for that matter? We'll start with Gates. As far as any ties he may have to the 32 million mosquito dump planned by Alphabet, none that I could verify. But he has funneled millions of dollars to, you guessed it, Oxitec. And this may not surprise you, but Bill Gates is the largest private force behind the mosquito engineering and release field in the world. To give you an idea, Gates's mosquito breeding factory, yes, it is a thing, in Medellín, Colombia, hatches 30 million mosquitoes with the Wolbachia bacteria a week. I'm not kidding. And it leads me to ask, where the hell are all those mosquitoes going? What are you doing there, Bill? A little weird. As Gates said in his own writings on the topic, this might sound the beginning of a Hollywood film writer's horror plot, but it's not. The factory is real. Oh, great. Well, thanks for clearing that up, Bill. Now that I know that this is in fact not a horror film plot, but actually is real life, I feel so much better. I mean, I just got all warm and fuzzy. I love Bill Gates. He's just such a great guy. Who's with me? Anyways, Oxitec's weird plot to unleash 750 million mosquitoes in the Florida Keys reportedly got a lot of uproar from local residents as well as some environmental advocacy groups. One person even likened it to a Jurassic Park experiment, except, in real life. But no matter, it already had federal approval. Bill Gates can't even fix the viruses on the computer he makes, yet he thinks he's somehow an authority to do this with, the actual viruses that aren't technically living but will infect you and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know about that. There are so many more creepy things that Bill Gates is involved with, be it in the mosquito industry and other stuff that I just can't talk about in this video. If you're enjoying it and you want to hear more about Gates, please comment below. As I promised, we're going to talk about how Dr. Fauci comes in with all this in a moment. But first, we got to talk about this craziness in Hawaii. No joke, they are doing mosquito drone drops. It's as crazy and creepy as it sounds, all right? You can fit as many as 20,000 mosquitoes in a single drone, and then they just go drop them all over the place. Why? To save a bird. At least that's what the US government is claiming. Honey creepers, to be specific. Malaria-ridden mosquitoes are biting these birds and thus causing them to lose their lives, unfortunately, in basically 90% plus of cases. And that's causing extinction issues and things like that. You know, totally unrelated, but does anybody else remember when Al Gore, back, I don't know, 15 years ago, said that the polar ice caps are going to be completely melted during the summers around the years 2014 to 2016? That's totally unrelated. I'm not bringing that up for any particular reason, okay? It's got nothing to do with this issue. I would never dare suggest that the government may be lying to people or stretching the truth, nothing of that sort, all right? Trust your overlords, trust the government. They always tell you the truth. Okay? Jokes aside, does anybody trust the US government after its insane response during the COVID-19 pandemic? And speaking of COVID-19, let's get to our dear friend, Dr. Anthony Fauci, who notably was running the institute that approved research on these mosquitoes, the NIAID. In an op-ed that received little attention, Fauci wrote on October 7th, interesting choice of date, 2024, that the West Nile virus that Google is supposedly trying to take down actually nearly took him down. I was afraid that I would never recover and return to normal, Fauci exclaimed. Yes, that is a real quote. He also called on communities to invest considerably more resources into this issue before it becomes an even greater health crisis. Ha! We all know Fauci loves a good crisis, don't we, folks? But what do you think? Is this morally acceptable behavior by our government and big tech? Did you even know this was happening before today? Let me know in the comments. And if this opened your eyes at all, like and subscribe, and that way you can know when the next video drops. I'm your host, Darian. Thanks for tuning in, and God bless.